have an awesome responsibility to be honest, truthful, and not malicious in the way that we argue, discuss, and share the gospel. Today, we are going to look at two common and quite easy to commit fallacies. The first of which is ad hominem, and the second will be straw man. We're going to look at them so that we can recognize them in other people's arguments and avoid them in our own arguments. So as I said, the first is ad hominem. Ad hominem is defined by Merriam-Webster as appealing to the prejudices rather than to the intellect. By fallacyfiles.org, it is a personal attack in using the presented flaw as evidence against the argument. We're going to look at the basic formula, and then we're going to move into some real-life examples. The formula is person A says X, person B claims Z about person A, therefore person A's claim is wrong. In other words, person A said, I believe that something is wrong, and then person B said, well, you were raised that way, so you really don't have the authority to say that because it was just something you were taught. I'm going to have Patrick come up here to help me with some actual real-life examples. Patrick, I believe that our country is not being run the way that it should be. I think it should be run more economically.
Well, duh, you're in my dad's class.
See, I made a statement, and then he brought up a part of my life, which is kind of irrelevant to the argument, and used it as evidence against my argument, against my conversation.
I also say that Abe Lincoln was a tyrant.
Well, you're from the South. You couldn't possibly understand the stress that he was under. You weren't living then. You weren't him. You weren't from the North. It was the way you were raised. See how I took what he wasn't? See how I took, thank you, Patrick. I took what he wasn't, what he didn't do, and who he wasn't, and used it as evidence against him, against his whole argument. That is the other side of ad hominem. It takes parts of a character that could be lacking, or aren't even there at all, and uses them as evidence. The fact that they aren't there. So ad hominem, it really doesn't get you anywhere positive in your argument. It actually makes you unreliable because of the way that you attack the character and use that as evidence. Straw man won't get you anywhere positive either. Straw man is defined as by Merriam-Webster as misrepresenting the argument and using to a point where it's easily refuted or easily knocked down. It is defined by the grammarist as setting up a position that is easily confirmed against your opponent. Well, we need to look at the formula again so that we can keep that in mind as we move forward. So the formula is also simple. It's person A claims X. Person B states Z about X. Therefore, X is wrong. So for this example, I'm going to do it by myself. And it's essentially just a pro-abortionist and a pro-choice arguing. The pro-abortionist says that I believe abortion is wrong, and the pro-choice says, so you believe that women shouldn't have basic rights to health care. Person A, or the pro-abortionist, or the pro-life, said that he believes that abortion is wrong, and that's a moral stance. And it's well-founded in the Bible and in other scientific sources as well. But then person B, or the pro-choice, said he took the argument that the pro-life person took and used that as the basis for his next argument, which almost ran away with the argument. It took the basic aspects of the argument and misrepresented it, deformed it, and turned it into something that seemed ridiculous and horrible and beyond what he ever meant. The next one was my friend and her friend. My friend's name was Leslie and her friend was Shelby. I was hanging out with them and they were having a discussion about feminism. Shelby asked Leslie if she was a feminist. Leslie said no, she believed that women should have basic rights, but she wasn't as extreme as feminists are. She believed that the wife should submit to the husband and that women should serve wherever possible, but she believed the same of men. Then Shelby, this is interesting, Shelby said, so you don't think that women are equal to men? You don't believe that women should have the same basic voting rights as men, huh? How could you hate your sex so much? That last part was word for word. This one is unique because it includes ad hominem and straw man. The ad hominem part is the end where she attacks the character and uses that character to sort of debunk her argument. And the straw man part is the majority where she takes the argument or the statement that Leslie said and Shelby turns it into something and misrepresents it to be something that it wasn't, which was an anti-feminist position. Ad hominem attacks the character, and it's not good for your argument, and it makes you uncredible. The same with straw man. Straw man really attacks it attacks your credibility more than it attacks your opponent's credibility. So remember that we have an awesome responsibility to be honest and clear. Any questions?